Que é o corredor.
Blarg.
I heard you. Can you Hey, can you hear me now? Well and clear, huh?
Blarg. Blarg. Hello, people.
Hi, Max.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, finally.
Oh yeah. Well, this means we need just to wait for Tani and whoever will replace the current.
I wonder if I should risk putting my headphones back in. I'm not sure if that was the issue. It worked back last time, though. I had both of them in.
Well, whatever works.
Test part 2?
Successful.
Okay, we're all good then.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I really just...
No, I mean it's understandable, and I would like to tell in your same situation.
But hey, it works out in the end. Okay, so where the hell is Tanny right now? Is he even on?
Well, yes, he is apparently. He was just busy posting.
Hey, Tanny.
Hey,
Hello.
that's not what I expect.
Yeah, I was not expecting that voice.
Kind of reminds me of how Nuka sounded.
Have to agree.
Uh-huh.
We can hear you type, just saying.
Tani, could you use push to talk? It's kind of annoying to listen to you.
He can be both, Joanne, just saying.
Yeah. Finally. This means we can finally begin.
Yo.
Fucking finally.
Yeah, we were waiting for you.
I kind of had to take a dump, so
Okay.
the
Did
more
it hurt?
you know,
Did it hurt? We need to know for Joanne's sake. Did it hurt?
just the tip.
That's not what we are discussing today.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Joe, are we recording?
Tio told me that he's recording and that...
Oh god, he recorded all of that.
Yes, he recorded. But when he
I want the
uploads
record to show you're a shill.
when he uploads it, he's only going to put the actual podcast up. He's not going to
Good.
put.
All right. Well, I believe we're mostly all here, which means we can begin the third Imperium Podcastium Redux 2. Why,
This is like
God? Why?
the 9th.
Well, yes, but this
Give
is
or
the
take 10.
third in. Well, no, but this is the third in the newest one, which is in 216.
I just take this as the second season, the stuff that we're doing beforehand.
All right, that's fair.
So let's begin talking about IOT. While IOT Imperium Podcastium was gone, well, for about 2 months, many new IOTs were launched, but like we won't cover all of them because most of them, well, either died during that period or are about to die. Anyway, well, so we shall discuss the newest four. In other words, Quiet into the Night, Peshawar Lancers, Supremacy, and what was the third one?
For love of money.
Yeah, that one.
It's basically Reciteer, the IoT.
I absolutely love it. It is probably one of the funnest IoTs I've ever played. I love Nuka for hosting it. And I really like the fact that we're doing IoTs that aren't just nations. Like also we have Supremacy, which has kind of like the same gimmick of just being something other than nation.
Yeah, it's just a
So-
smaller scale.
So, with which IoT do you want us to begin first?
Well, we kind of started talking about money already, so might as well start with it.
We should talk about multipolarity.
Well, I haven't actually been into for money, so I can't really tell what's going on because well, I was kinda scared of because it looked like a Sony yacht and
Oh, it's
numbers,
not a Sun
so-
IoT in any stretch of the means. Mostly because the stats are actually pretty simple, all things considered. I mean, yes, the game is essentially balancing a spreadsheet, but when the game is intentionally designed to be a spreadsheet simulator instead of being a nation game with spreadsheets, it actually is streamlined and extremely fun to do the balancing.
Also, the updates
I
sound
mean,
pretty
spreadsheets
fun.
are like my shit, so yeah, that's pretty true.
The update sounds pretty fun though.
Y-
I can't understand what's going on. It's
Well,
madness.
the whole point of the game is that you have a small loan of $1 million, just like Donald Trump, and you're supposed to invest your money in various types of industries, such as armaments, electronics, entertainment, etc. And the whole point is just to amass enough money that you can put everybody else out of business. And you also have opportunities to bribe governments in order to get favorable trade deals, or perhaps start wars, or just be an evil capitalist in any way that you can imagine, really.
Also, apparently, if what I read in the chat is correct,
I mean, the Donald Trump reference is intentional on Nuka's part. He even has a remix of that speech as the main theme.
It's a meme.
we
Uh,
well,
It looks like
if any-
Zapperkus is doing the best right now. He's got
Actually, I think NC is his stock price is like almost $50.
I mean, I'm looking at cash on hand, and he's got the highest company value as well.
But in stock price is the most important part.
I guess. But not if you don't issue stocks like me.
Well, then you're doing corporations wrong.
I know.
Honestly, NC could issue stocks and make $5 million a turn doing absolutely nothing.
My idea is to be a private, family-owned, multi-nation slavery conglomerate.
My goal is to just sell firearms, essentially.
Well, I was planning to join a martial program for the Eastern Europe, but well, I kinda got too lazy to sign up, and well, I was kinda scared of better spreadsheets, and
It's
well,
it's it's never too late to join if you want. I mean, you can. It's still at the point in which it's anybody's game.
I might give it a try. Who knows?
You should.
It's good shit.
Well, Faye says it, so then I will see it.
Right. So the next IoT, and I'm going to say the next one because it's the other one I'm in, was Supremacy, and that was really the first one that was made in this integrated between the last episode, and that one, like For Money, is a game. You're not a nation. You're just a little kid in some British primary school, and you're trying to become class president.
I have a dinosaur. He's trying to
I am
become class
Albert the
president.
Great.
Vote for Dr.
Coffee the
Carnage.
Great. 8-year-old barbarians and Vikings, mostly Vikings.
It's honestly also another really good game. It's a topic that I've seen done before. Even RC has said that he was a big inspiration. This was a playground mod, which was a mod for Civ 3, which has kind of had the same theme going on. But the way RC does it is fantastic. It's almost kind of like a little kid Game of Thrones, really.
I love Robert. Just putting that out there. Robert is easily one of the best people to have ever drawn breath on the face of this earth.
John, get off ASPC.
I'm shipping you two now, just saying.
Robert's more like a sibling to me.
And I'm a Zoroastrian.
Hey,
Mao.
it's all about that Zuido Da. But I don't know what the typical Zoroastrian views of homosexuality are, and I would actually be quite interested to learn them.
Stones.
I think that's probably a topic for another day, though.
And also another podcast.
Not this one.
We could make a Zoroastrian IoT.
Well, in this case, if I marry someone, do I marry him in real life? Have
Oh, yeah.
to.
I guess apologies to all Zoroastrians who are listening to this podcast.
That would be like 3 Zoroastrians, and I think that'd be about 10% of their current population.
Well, that's nice to know.
Anyway, our next topic should probably be Shadow of the Fall,
Rifle to the
because
night.
like that is a thing that is happening. It's happening.
For the third time, apparently.
Ron Paul told us.
Is still the third time some tries special answers.
Shadow is the Sun IoT, right?
Yeah. It's pretty much exactly what you would expect if you've ever played one of his games before. Which is in no way a bad thing.
Do you think it's
For
going to
you.
last?
Of course not. It's going to die at turn 3.
Well, Son looks quite busy anyway, so he might just happen like Empires of Joy, where he disappears for 3 weeks and nobody cares afterwards.
My theory is Son really loves designing games, but he doesn't really like running them.
Well,
I buy that. That sounds a lot like him.
it seems like he just needs to gain inertia first, but it seems that he never does gain one, and he just dies off, or he kills it cold-bloodedly into the night.
That's pretty much his style. Killing things cold-bloodedly.
Or in a blaze of nuclear fire.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just really dislikes us at this point. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's probably aiming for an audience that isn't us.
That actually might be what he's doing, but I think I am probably part of his desired audience, so I've never really noticed that before.
I'm not sure if I'm part of his desired audience, but
His audience loves spreadsheets.
Yeah, but I was going to talk about Sonyots and how much I hate them because no matter how many times I tell myself, no, I know this one will fail and it will die, and yet I join it. Why? Why does that happen every time?
Hey, I wanted to join too as the Taipings in China because I've always wanted to play them, and this seemed like the most appropriate IoT to do it. But I had to really restrain myself, so I know the struggle.
I mean, I always enjoy making signups for his games, and I think he does like doing the first 2 updates or so, but then he loses interest really quickly, which is probably what I would do if I actually ran games more than once a year.
I can't invest myself in a game knowing that it's only going to die in a turn or two. I put too much effort into them. And I know sometimes the effort doesn't really show because I don't really post a lot, but I try to put a lot of thought into it.
Well, that's the thing. I don't. I just put
Well-
exactly as much as I feel like.
Well, maybe I think Sun Eater needs a modder like what happened with Iron, but he just needs to design the base, the core of the game, the rule set and all, and then leave it to someone who has the discipline to keep running it and all.
That's not a bad idea. I think a lot of people could benefit from co-mods, as Black and Skies seems to have shown.
Well, didn't you? They broke off. Was
Well-
anime bit.
I mean, Black and Skies is going to restart in January. Or not restart, but resume.
Really, I haven't heard about that, and I talked to Nuka and Krez a lot.
Okay, well, I do too. I probably talk to them about, or at least I talk to Nuke about every day. So on here and Steam. I haven't seen Krez in a while though.
Well, first of all, Krez. Sorry.
He's in China.
Yeah, that's what she is in China.
I'm sorry. Apologies. Slipped off my mouth.
Yeah, I understand. But yeah, so she's in China. Nuka is already running a game, and he wants to run a second game. I don't know. It sounds like a resumption of BLS seems pretty optimistic.
That's what I was told by both of them. So, and if they don't live up to that, I will pester them until I die.
Well, to be fair, it seems like they had some conflicts between the two. I've spoken with Quest, and well, it doesn't seem like without trying to gossip and all, I mean,
Yeah, no, it's a
seems
hate
that-
ship.
Yeah, pretty much they don't really like each other, and maybe they just need, maybe some time between each other and all. And I guess that the China business is a very good opportunity for that.
Also, BTWA, when do you not pester people?
When I'm asleep.
He's not pestering me.
I bet you snore.
I actually don't. My girlfriend told me I don't. She
Did she
snores though.
Do you have a recording of that proving it?
Well, you just heard my overwhelmingly joyful voice explaining that I don't snore, which is really weird because I think I used to.
Okay, I think we're straying off topic.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I do.
We still have the last game to talk about, which is Vouchers game.
Which I am so hyped for.
And which I forgot to send orders for.
Yeah, that I think that happens to a lot of people with his games because he doesn't. Actually, no, he's pretty on top about telling people when orders are due. I don't know why it's a recurring problem, and I think it discourages him a lot, even though he makes spectacular worlds.
I think the issue is that Valter has that same reputation that Son and Tio does, and it's
But
not
it's
necessarily fair to Valter because I feel like it's more a problem of his players more than him, but it still has that problem.
I
I
think you're
think
absolutely right. It's definitely a problem with players and not him.
I think one of my problem with Civet's game is like, well, it has a very hands-off mechanics, and yeah, I know that will sound um, opposite to what I say, but I prefer a game in which you have well-defined mechanics, but and clear way to send orders and all that, and not just telling you can do whatever you want and all that. So it's just like I need to think about my orders and make them work. And well, honestly, I'm a lazy bastard, and that's too much effort for me. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, I can completely empathize. I was playing Mental Magic the other day, and if you don't know what that is, it's Magic the Gathering, but you play a card with the same cost as any other card. So you just name a card with like the cost 3 and you pay 3 and you play it. And I got absolutely murder stomped because there were so many options available to me, and it's just a paralyzing feeling to me to have that many options and just no plan whatsoever.
So yeah, this is why I like I offer in if I may um, harness my game into this. I offer freedom in telling stories, but like um, I prefer to keep things simple. Like I don't want players to think 5 hours about how to write orders. I want just orders and all that. Well, some RP in them is alright. I prefer if players aren't confused and they spend hours of thinking how to do their orders.
Um, I think an issue that I personally had with the game that ended up was a big reason why I didn't join was that I'm not sure I really liked how he did signups for that game.
Well, it's not very different from how Black and Skies did them. Or you
Yeah,
mean,
but in Black and Skies, you got to order your picks. In that game, you just got whatever voucher assigned to you.
well, you still can pick what you want to play, so it's kind of random, and random can be welcomed,
Y-
I guess.
Yeah, I know, but like for example, in Black and Skies, for example, Nuka told me that it's because of all the help I put in into making the world, that if I joined and I ended up not joining for other reasons, that I pretty much could have picked whatever nation I wanted to. And he was trying to push me specifically to play as Italy. And well, I just know in like Nuka and in Nessus in general, they tend to have sort of players and in mind for nations, and that if you're involved with the game and making it, that you're pretty much guaranteed to get that particular nation. And it just kind of seemed like what Voucher did kind of was just whatever.
Well, I mean, I got the first nation I listed, so I think he either did decide to go with an order, or because running lists of 3 things through random.org is a pain in the ass, or he just assigned whichever nation he thought a player would enjoy the most or which needed a player the most.
Or which he thinks that would fit the best in, but that's another topic.
Also, did you notice that New Anglica was literally me? He based an entire nation off of me.
Thought that was Saint
You're a meme
Helena.
now, Megan.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You guys were talking over each other.
All right, I said you're a meme now, Megan.
Of course. But I thought that was, well, Saint Helena. They don't have manpower, they have woman power.
Well, yeah, but he made an anarchist nation with the capital of Albany. I kind of consider that closer to me.
Does it really say woman power in the stats?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Just-
god.
I didn't notice that, actually.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be fair, he showed it to me like, hey, check out the manpower stat. It's not manpower.
That's good.
Anyways, oh well, so anything else to add to about quietly?
I'm Tarek and Morocco sucks.
K-
Also, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce Tarek.
Tuareg. Tuareg. Tuareg.
The nomads in Africa, because that's who I am.
I regret choosing the country that has almost no money.
And what
Well,
Oh
country
my
is
god,
that?
You can't
Tanny's
take-
alive.
I actually don't know how you pronounce it. Ashan, A-S-E-A-N. I don't.
Oh,
Asian.
Asian.
You sound
Asian.
nothing like I thought you would.
I get that a lot.
Also, I'm
Since you're not
considerably
laughing,
less scared for my person than I would be if you sounded like I thought you would.
Not sure how to feel about that, but okay.
Well, so now we can. I think we're over with quietly. So either we could talk about the four shows that just suddenly appeared all at once, and not one by one, but just in general, or we could go on and bother Tani. What do you say?
I like bothering Tanny a lot.
It's the national pastime of Bowser Potamia or whatever I was.
Remember, one IoT day equals one in-game day.
Well, this means we'll go with bothering Tani now. He will tell
Hopefully
us.
the world revolves really fast.
Sure. Well,
So you're making a new game, Tanny. Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. Like, what should I start with?
Well, just give us the whole premise.
How many nuclear weapons will each player have?
TBA.
so from 1 to 10.
You should use nukes as the in-game currency.
Maybe, but so basically, originally I had two concepts for games. One was called American Empire, which was supposed to be like a Rome Total War sort of thing, where all the countries would, all the players would play as a faction in the United States, kind of like Rome Total War. But that was one idea, and basically the whole idea is you're competing for internal influence and like expanding around the world. And I had another idea where for a different game where say a plague hits the world, and pretty much anybody with it has an extremely high lethality rate for anyone who doesn't have indigenous America pox. Yeah, that's John Kay's idea of it is that, but yeah. It would have an extremely high lethality rate. So basically, most people in the old world would be gone, and that would allow all the nations in the new world to become either great powers or superpowers. And I decided, hey, why not combine them? It'll be interesting. That way, if you want to play cooperative, you can play one of the players in the United States. If you want to be your own power, you can play one of the Latin American nations. Or Megan said she was interested in playing China.
Yes, I was, and I still am.
Because what's the mortality rate for non-Native Americans? Like 95%?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but even after that, China still has a crap load of
Yeah,
people.
95% of
Hey, Tani.
2 billion is a lot of people still.
I'm
That is
going
more people than me.
Question: what about Australia? What happened to the natives there?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
There was actually a point where I actually was debating creating a Republic of Hawaii because, like, oh yeah, the indigenous people will be in control. I'm like, wait a minute, they're not like technically indigenous Americans because they're like Polynesians and everything. So I'm like, oh man, but so I assume Australia doesn't do any better either.
But yeah, the main reason why I want to be China is because I want to be Carthage and I want to burn down Rome and salt it.
So I just used the maths to find out what the population of China would be if 95% of its people died. It would be 68 million.
That's still about 15 or 20 times more my country's population. Yeah.
That's about the population of America, isn't it?
No, America's like 300 million.
Oh, whoops, I'm an idiot.
Oh yeah, about Katash.
Yeah,
That's my
319 million right now.
I feel like I would probably die because I don't think I have any native blood.
That would still be more than the population of Canada, though.
Well, and most of Eastern Europe and the Balkans, probably. Or at least
Probably.
the Balkans.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things when I was playing with the demographics, and like some nationalities would basically cease to exist because pretty much a lot of the countries in the Caribbean have like barely any like indigenous blood at all. So that means that basically Mexico will take over the entire Caribbean is the idea.
I think there might be some probably Taino or Carib blood on in like the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Hispaniola.
I was doing the research, and basically the only nationalities that still remain are Cubans and Haitians and Dominicans. Everyone else has like pretty much no people left. So
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So basically, what you're doing is you're making Shadowrun without the magic.
I guess so.
Well, in Shadowrun, the native people got magic first, so they started kicking out all the white people.
Speaking of which, we do need a Shadowrun game.
Yeah, so just if only so I will stop bitching about it.
Yeah, that's a noble cause.
Does reggae still exist in your universe, Tanny?
I really have no idea. I'm sure it will still survive through American culture or something.
Actually, what happened to Africa?
Same as every other part of the world, pretty much all gone. It'll be interesting to redraw the map.
So wait, when did this dying out happen?
Yeah, I was thinking probably around like 2050 or so. That's the number I've been using to like get population statistics and go from there.
Well, even currently, Africa is like the second most populated continent after Asia, obviously. So you can't.
I thought Antarctica was first.
You can't.
Wait, are we talking about penguins?
No, we're talking about Africa. So what I mean is that you can just kill them off all, and you should probably represent them in some way.
I bet the plague is going to kill off all the penguins.
I would be surprised if they're thriving actually without humans.
Well, there's a minefield in the Falklands where the biggest penguin sanctuary is, so
soon those penguins are going to get big enough that the mines are going to trigger.
Well, this is how they'll learn the ways of man, and then they will vow revenge in the theaters 2270. The penguins return. That was bad.
So, Tanny, back to serious questions. What is the technology of your world going to be like?
Basically, the idea is it happened like right. It would have happened in our own timeline. So whatever technology they would have had in the 2050s is what they're going to have afterward.
So laser rifle for everyone.
Magnetic accelerator cannons.
Railguns.
I mean, it's not like it's gonna matter because armies are pretty much handled uniformly after, I don't know, World War One and IoTs.
Well, I was just more interested more for the naval aspect because I'm going to be China, as I said, or at least I plan on being China, and I'm going to be Carthage, which means I'm going to have an impressive navy so I can burn down Washington. And I was just kind of curious if it was going to still kind of be like today's technology, or if we're going to have fleets regress due to the plague and technology being lost or whatnot.
I imagine there might be a slight regression because of the vastly decreased number of like laborers available. But if you want to have
smart white people die.
Like
NASA is pretty fucking white.
What about South America? Inca, please.
Yeah, if you wanted to, because it looks like a lot of the South American nations escape relatively unscathed because they have very large indigenous and mestizo populations. So
would the Mayans in the hills create their own nation, or would they still be under Mexico's boot?
Mexico has become a great power in this timeline because basically when the United States it was busy trying to sort out its own chaos, Mexico was able to take over Central America and the Caribbean.
That's incredibly ironic.
I mean, Mexico is still pretty native and European heavy. They inbred together. I mean, they speak Spanish, but it's called Mexico for a reason.
So would Louisiana and Oklahoma be the most populated states?
Yeah, the idea is that let's see. Yeah, a lot of the indigenous people would have form their own countries in the aftermath. But the thing is that there's a very large mestizo population in the United States, and they'd basically become the majority of what is now the American Empire. So it's actually a Hispanic society.
We also have waspy people breeding with Native Americans too. I mean, there's the whole "I'm 132 Cherokee" joke.
I'm 100 Cherokee, that kind of shit. Yeah. How much native blood do you need before the plague's just I don't fucking care?
I actually didn't quite think that too far, but so long as it's not like 1/1,000,000th or something, I think I have it play a part.
So as long as you have at least one ancestor in the past, I don't know, few hundred years, you'll be fine.
Yeah, pretty much, at least compared to everyone else.
Yeah, I feel like even the white population of America would be kind of fine then.
I actually looked into that because I thought the same thing, but I guess when you actually genetically test a lot of people from a lot of white Americans, they actually don't have that much Indian blood usually. So.
Yeah, but you said as long as you have one ancestor.
It would be probably have to German Americans would probably be pretty much dead. I think 13 colony people and whoever had ancestors that were living on the frontier might be better off than the rest of the country.
So basically everywhere but the Midwest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
I imagine that the Southwest would probably be a bit better off than the rest of the country, except maybe California, considering, the massive influx of settlers.
Actually, what would happen to the immigrants that went, from all over Europe and stuff like Asians and so on? Are they also going to die?
Yeah, if you don't have a reasonable amount of Native American blood, you're not guaranteed to die, but you have a much, much higher mortality rate.
Okay, so at least 50% instead of 95% mortality then, right?
I guess so. The general idea is that the center of power in the United States like shifts enormously to the southwest because of the demographic shift.
Okay. So would the capital be Phoenix?
I actually put the capital in Los Angeles, but I'll see
Jesus
about changing.
Christ. That's probably better.
Yeah, it means I can burn it easier.
Phoenix is a testament to man's arrogance.
Well, and arrogance is well existing, but anyway, I'll help you with that mix. I'm all in for burning Rome.
We could do it together.
Exactly.
I mean, you could be Mexico and I could be China, and we can work together.
Oh, that's actually I never thought about that. That's actually an interesting idea because one of the Americans' missions would be to for like maximum like prestige and glory would be to subjugate Mexico because it's still a threat to the Empire's security. So there you go. There is a reason for Mexico to work together to neutralize the U.S. quickly.
Hold on. I'll watch a video for a second, okay?
Well, what was your second topic that you suggested at the beginning?
He turned off his mic.
Oh,
I'm scrolling up because I wasn't here when the topics were decided.
I don't think we posted them. He said them on the chat.
Well,
Back.
is anyone else considering making a game? Which I guess is just you, because I don't think Taya was going to talk.
Well, I mean, I kind of already talked about my game the last episode, and I don't think there's any new information on it.
All right.
It's the Zelda one, right?
Correct.
Yeah, well, that will be in the works while Arcanum is still living.
I heard that you're almost done with the update.
As it turns out, just with the writing parts, unfortunately, it seems like NC has a lot to do on the numbers side, and I guess I'll talk with him how I can help him and all.
Get your shit together,
Well-
Ninja.
I mean, you could always just post the story without the stats.
I'd be
Nah.
totally fine with that.
I would too.
Well, yeah, I've written a lot of words, but no, I am stupid, pedantic, perfectionist, and I like it all complete. Even if it means that I'll post it in like November, because it seems that NC has homework until like 24, 22 be all over, but I talk with NC again, I mentioned it, and we'll figure something out to be his writing slave while he does the calculations, I guess, and we'll see if that works out. If it doesn't, well, we'll just wait until early November, which is something I said in September when I said that it will be up in early October. So, yes, Arcanum update coming someday.
Just take your time. There's no rush. I mean, Lord knows that NC took forever for idiot updates. It's not anything new for him.
It's that Australian time zone difference.
Oh yeah, sure. But that Australian time zone difference means I can chat to him when I come back from school. Kinda, sorta. He's usually busy and tired, and I like go away somewhere.
So, Tony,
Yeah.
for the Arcanum update, what exactly have you not written yet?
What did you? What I didn't write?
Yeah, you said you're almost done with it. So, like, what's exactly holding up the writing part?
So I need to finish two civil wars, two player wars, and And yeah, that's about it. And well, NC has to first calculate those wars, but
Oh, so you can't
beyond
just write it
that,
without him then. Okay, that makes sense.
no, no, I can just determine the outcome on my own. That would be GM Fiat.
My IoT was run on GM Fiat. It's not a bad thing.
Yes, all, Holy Sunro, save me with your spreadsheets.
Fiat Uber Alice.
Yo, please cut this out. I beg of you.
Purge the spreadsheet heretics. Praise Lord Thor.
Well, oh,
I take personal offense to that.
I will burn
Uh,
you first, AA.
I'm
Um,
made of fire. Haven't you seen me giving Tayo shit about fire wizards?
so
I thought you were a penguin, to be honest.
Wah.
So, are any of you going to ask any more questions about Arcanum beyond when will the update come?
Sure. I can ask another question. What is your intention for the game after the update?
Continue the, to update number 2?
I mean, beyond just updating, like, do you have an end goal for the game? Something that you want to see players do?
Well, finish the world event, the world quests, um, conquest, right? RP, remove all the NPCs so that NC has an easier time to update, write good stories, and of course, above all, have fun.
I guess you're still not really getting the point of the question, so I'll just rephrase it. Do you have a plot in mind?
Well, be fair, I have fought for some nations. Like, for example, I have some one nation which I want to mention has formed an organization, military to keep the order, which kind of sound like black shirts, and I plan to make that person's life miserable for his decision.
Sounds like fun. Do you have anything planned for New Thel?
Remove
Well,
Thel.
that depends on your decisions and for how long you survive.
You make it sound like I'm not going to survive. I'm gonna fucking punch Teal's Nation in the goddamn face.
Oh, it's not just your nation; it's also Jackal's nation.
Implying Jackal can do anything. I love you, Jackal, by the way. I'm just joking.
Got him.
Race. Well, so I've got plans for nations, but they're not really solid. So if you want to defy them, and you probably will accidentally because you don't know them beyond that one which I accidentally told you, they can give you an example. That's all right. That's excellent because it gives your nation's course, changes it. It's new one and it's brave and bold, and you could also die horribly.
And I guess the final question is this whole searching now lore going to lead to other events?
Oh yes, it will, but I should tell you from now, it's going to be hard, and once you see the update, you see that, well, you're getting somewhere, but don't expect instant success. Don't expect to find the artifact immediately from the first try. You have to wither. Go ahead.
I don't think anybody really expects to find anything on the first try, except for death and misery.
Well, it wasn't that bad. But you see that and more as once I post the update, and then you see it's bad, and then you realize that all the 3 or 4 months you waited probably weren't worth it.
Right. It sounds like many people are asking us to wrap this up, so I think we should probably wrap this up.
Oh, actually, I just want to make a note real quick that we've actually had a game that came to an ending and didn't die.
Idiot.
No, Heirs to
No.
Heaven.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it ended last month, and
Last month. I thought it was a week or two ago.
I mean, like last month was a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Technically
You ju-
true.
didn't mean a month ago.
Yeah, it ended September 26th. After I don't know, a couple weeks between updates or something. The game ended not in a typical fashion of one player totally dominating all the other players, but all the players had basically just decided to align with each other, except for Sion, who got his ass kicked because he turned into a crazy tree worshipping cultist or something.
Classic Sion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Nuke was declared queen and then subsequently became the god. And I think that I married the Nuka's character, and my character married and had children and stuff.
Married God, and I liked it.
Ninja Dude got killed by an NPC invader from off the map. They were kind of Arabic in culture, and considering the continent the game took place on is European in culture, I was laughing a lot.
Didn't Christos have something to do with the final alliance?
He kind of got his ass beat by Sion, and then because everyone beat Sion up, Christos just reclaimed his land and more or less is an independent entity as of the game's end. There's considerably less players on the map, or houses rather. There are, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 entities, and there were at least twice that. One of them is the Summerlands, which is literally the entire South region that Sunreal was going to unite, but then he decided to not play the game. And another big one is Sion and then Jones' former holdings. It's a big peninsula, and it looks like a dick, so I guess that makes Joan pretty happy. And then there's the church and 1, 2, 3, 4 other houses, and then Christos. And there's a big ass wasteland in the north because Sion fucked up.
That sounds hilarious.
All right, one final questions for you. So, Tani is part of the old god, so as to speak, and one of the reasons I invited him, forced him off to switch angst due to a miscommunication, but I wanted to know how much does he think that IOT has changed through the time, from when he left and now.
Well, definitely my first reaction upon coming back was like it seemed like 90% of the community had become LGBT in my absence, so that was one of the first things I noticed. But it sounds like
you're not wrong.
Everyone is gay.
Yeah. I bet
everyone
you weren't
wait-
expecting me to be trans.
No, it's just it just to me it just seemed like as soon as I left, that's when the party started. I'm like, that figures. But beyond that, at least based on my conversations with other players, it sounds like the mentality has changed. Like there's more interest in like peaceful cooperation style games now. So I remember originally the idea of running a game where pretty much the entire world was controlled by the United Nations and there were no private armies didn't go over so well. But I've been told by some people that will probably do a lot better now, which is accurate because it was like the runner-up for the most popular game choice when I did a poll of all the players. So
Well, Heirs to Heaven did end in a cooperative ending, even though it was plagued by civil war for at least half the game.
Yeah, so maybe, I'll probably try that after I get done with the American Empire one. Like, American Empire still preserves like elements of foreign policy, whereas with Multipolarity 5, I'd have to really think about how to make it interesting, because without the war element, there's got to be other things that drive the gameplay. So I'll have to see about that, but
As Paradox has yet to learn.
I remember back when you originally proposed MP5 like a couple of years ago, my intention was to play as pirates. Not necessarily just because I wanted to pirate, but also because I thought that would drive conflict.
yeah, I have to admit, it's always good to have an antagonist. I'm partially, I know a lot of people didn't like Christos' aggressive play style, but I'm just like, hey, he breathes some life into the first Multipolarity, because everyone could look at him and say he's the bad guy.
Yeah, I think there's games definitely benefit from a clear antagonist. That way, because people like conflict, but what they like more than conflict is they like resolving conflict.
This meaning killing of Christos, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a conflict that deserved to be resolved, and I'm pretty sure that happened, but I have no memory of the game.
He was killed off briefly, but then he turned into a terrorist organization, and he ended up taking over China again like 8 turns later, and Thorvald was not happy about.
Was that the one with where I was stinking Byzantium in Greece?
I don't.
No,
remember.
that was a different game.
Okay, because all of the games have blended together in my brain.
What he's referring to was the original Multipolarity. I believe that was the game in which LH and Nuka had the huge civil war, or I should say Nuke Knockout, not Nuka. But I mean by civil war, I mean like in real life, since they're brothers. Civil war.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, I like how the tension between the countries helped drive the narrative, but when I found out it was leaking into their real life relationship, I was like, that's I don't like that that's happening. It shouldn't take a toll on your relationship as brothers.
Yeah.
Players.
Go ahead.
Like what? All right, so brothers, yeah, that's pretty bad. But what about, well, interpersonal conflict between, like, actually, if you want to have a break, one of my first episodes with Megs was actually in Syria 2, run by Son, when, well, I did some stupid thing and I told in public chat that I would receive bribes for if I attack someone. But anyway, one of my first interactions with her was rather hostile, but still, I guess it doesn't always hurt, and I'm just rambling right now.
I remember that. It was like the Cold War game, and you were posting about attacking me on chat.
Yeah, when I was Spain and Franco.
Yeah, and I bet that was a rude introduction to IoT, and I guess I'm sorry about that, but I just kind of thought it was really funny.
But to be fair, Syria as well as Kashmir, I think I said that in chat, were one of the games that pulled me into IoT. So yeah, if you wonder why I'm here, blame Son and Snake.
Like
That-
on, like
That
honestly,
actually.
go ahead.
Okay, I guess I win. That actually kind of brings up an interesting point, because it seems like when a new player joins a game and they've never even encountered the community before, they tend to put themselves in a compromising and vulnerable position that really provokes conflict.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, again, if for example, the only reason why I ended up posting Tony's chat about attacking me on chat is because he literally did it while I was still talking in the room. If it was something I just read in the backlog, I would have just told him in private. I wouldn't have bothered posting it. But I just thought it was so fucking hilarious that he did it while I was actually talking to people on chat.
Well, Anyway, so stuck around for about 2 years, and it was okay, I guess. Well, pretty good at times too.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of the newest. Well, I guess Jackal's the newest, but it's interesting how quickly people will get themselves ingrained in our community after the first few games. Because before you, I think it was Rios who was the newbie, and by the time you came, Rios was kind of not the newbie anymore. He was kind of one of us.
Yeah, and then it's been 2 years and Tony's running a game.
To be fair, I also ran a game in 2015. I don't like to talk about stuff.
Yeah, Sophia, wasn't it?
Sophia.
I have no recollection of this event.
Sophia is the acronym for, not acronym, but metaphor for Son's game, where basically he took the after the end CK2 mod. My game was via Victis. It was set in revolutionary France. It was followed by my biggest enemy, arithmetics.
Honestly, the only remember why I remembered Sophia is because it was mentioned during Son's rant about when he heterodoxy, because I believe he made a joke at your expense in that thread.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, but just standing by my comment that it was rather wonkery. Maybe he wrote it with one hand. Sorry, son, I like your games, but it's what I think.
All right, I think we should definitely wrap it up now because this has probably been going on for an hour.
I agree completely. I don't really think we have much more to say.
Yeah. Well, see us until next week. This podcast has been brought to you by Nestle.
And Mountain Dew.
And the trans Malcolm X, according to Azali.
This podcast has actually been brought to you by New Belgium Pumkick Beer.
But most importantly, the gay agenda.
Taya, you can stop now.
Uh huh.